We'll try to go home at 4:30 and be back at 5:30. Okay, this is our regular Board of Works meeting, second meeting for the month of January. First thing I do is ask if everybody would turn off their cell phones or turn them on to vibrate. Second thing, we're going to have an invocation tonight. And the invocation is going to be a member of the clergy of our town, and you can participate in the invocation, or you can choose not to participate in the invocation. It's up to you. And whether or not you participate will have no bearing on the things that you've come here to talk about or to do tonight. We invite anybody that would like to come and do the invocation to come. Just call the mayor's office and tell us you'd like to come, and we'll schedule you. And we open it up to all races, colors, creeds, and religions. So with that, I'd like to stand. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Jane.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll remain standing. And Eric Hopkins is our invocator today.
Please bow with me. Heavenly Father, I'm grateful to live in a community where we can come together and openly ask for your help for the affairs of our city. Lift up those who are representative of the Board of Public Works, and thank you for their willingness to serve in their positions. Father, give them discernment, not just between what is right and what is wrong, but between what is better and what is best. Give them compassion to see beyond their normal boundaries, and wisdom that will take them far beyond their natural capabilities. I lift up their families. We know that many times the families pay the price for someone in public service, and we ask you to take care of them. Now I ask that you lead and guide this meeting. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. May you be seated. We'll have roll call.
Jane Oakley, present. Frank Schomel,
Present.
Leonard Urban,
Present.
Mike Bishop,
Present.
Ron Coldiron.
4 of the Board of Works are here tonight, and we have a quorum, and we can do business. We'll have the reading the minutes of the last Board of Works meeting.
Here I move the minutes of January 7th, 2013 regular meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety be approved as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as they were sent out to the Board of Works members by mail. Are there any additions or corrections? None appearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Under new business, we have the approval for promotions for Captain Tim McFarland, Battalion Chief. Yeah. Tim, you want to come forward?
I'm going to let Tim introduce his wife as before he does that, I'm going to tell you Tim's a 22-year member of our department, 15 years as a lieutenant, 1 year as a captain. He is one of our leaders on our department. You want to introduce your wife?
This is my wife Lori of 25 years, and we have one daughter Morgan, which is a butler right now. She was going to try to come tonight, but she just couldn't make it.
So I'm going to let her pin his badge on him, and hopefully she'll stick him. I tried to show him how to do it. Robin retired, as you know, as of the 14th. He was 35 years so far.
I remember Tim before he got on the fire department. And he must have been real young, because I'm not that old.
Still young. We're still young.
Yeah. Looks nice.
So do we need to vote on individual or?
No, the fire chief recommends Tim McFarland, and I'm recommending Tim McFarland to either be elevated to battalion chief. I'll take a motion to that.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't have to swear swear him in or anything, or?
No.
Wait,
Pin
something
their
over his-
badge on.
Okay.
Next, we have the promotion of Lieutenant Chris Gettinger. I'd like for him to come up and bring his wife. I'd like for Chris to introduce his wife and family. Chris was a 14-year member of our department, 4 years as a lieutenant.
And he's going to.
Be a captain.
This is my wife Kelly, been married 5 years. Got a little boy that's 19 months old and a daughter that's 20-something.
Go ahead.
Maybe we should vote before we pin the badge.
Maybe better.
You never know about
We
these
want to
people.
take
I'm recommending
think
to the
of
Board
that.
of Works that we elevate Mr. Gettinger to the captain's position over at the fire department, and I'll make a motion as such.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor to promote Mr. Gettinger to a captain, and any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now you can pin him on there.
Now you can stick him. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Would you like to give a speech or anything?
I'm not much.
We're asking to promote first class Mark Cox to lieutenant. Mark is a 13-year member. This will be his first time being an officer on our department. He's a very hard worker and should make a very good officer.
This is my wife of 27 years, Tanya. And my daughter Emily, my son Darren.
Go ahead and
Emily and
introduce
Darren,
them
come
all.
on up here. You need to be part of this.
Introduce your whole family.
Oh, my whole family?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Mr. Cox out
Okay, my
there.
dad David, that's my
Yeah.
brother Brian.
Come on in,
Bring
come
'em
on
up.
up. We do things right here.
Vicky, my mom Vicky. I like Vicky. And this is my mother and father-in-law Gary and Cheryl. That's everybody.
I think for about 30 years I had breakfast with his grandpa. And we had a wonderful time. Life's never been the same since it changed. Wait a minute now, we're gonna vote first.
Gotta vote for him.
Make sure I can have it first.
Fire chief has recommended to me that we raise Mark Cox to a lieutenant. I concur, and I make a motion that we give him the honor of being our lieutenant. And I'll make that in the form of motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Now we're there.
You almost had it. I seen that. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's all you got?
Yep.
You want to hear a speech?
No, I'm gonna sit around though.
Okay. Now, this is a result of a retirement, and it's a result that the fire department union has given us the authority to have part-time people, so we have to make battalion chiefs to run the shift when we're in the absence of a deputy chief. We just have one chief, and then we have 3 battalion chiefs that run each shift, and then of course when they're off they have to have captains and lieutenants to serve in their places. So this is a sign that the whole system is working. Maybe not working like we all would like for it, but in our economic times it's working. So we appreciate every one of you for coming tonight and being a part of this. We have a request that the fees be waived at the administration building in Roberts Park from the Buckaroos. Jamie Harvey.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm Jamie
Jamie.
Harvey. I've been a Buckaroo 4-H leader, a 4-H leader for about 20 years, and our 4-H club meets twice per month. During the winter months, we meet indoors, and during the summer months, we meet outdoors at the 14 acres. We would like to request that the fee for the use of the administration building this year be waived for our club.
Just during the winter months.
Yes, and that would be for 2 meetings in February, 2 meetings in March, 2 in April, and then depending upon the weather, maybe 2 in May. If the weather is nice early in May, we will go outside.
Mike,
Yes.
How is your administration building? Is it booked or?
It's reserved. She has reserved.
No, I mean, but are you real busy in there, or is this costing you money to let her have it for the Rangers?
Yeah, we have to run heat and water and everything else.
What's the normal fee, Mike?
It's normally $50 a day. For 4-H groups, the past practice, we only charge $10 for an hour and a half meeting. So that's kind of been the policy for the last, since I've been there, that they pay $10 to use the building.
How long are your meetings, Jamie?
About an hour and a half to 2 hours, twice per month.
Mike,
Hold it, Daryl, did you want a picture of the firemen we just promoted? Oh, you got them, okay.
are there other 4-H clubs that are using the
I
admin
believe
building?
so, yeah. It's been a past practice. A lot of clubs use the administration
And
building.
are they all paying?
Yeah, $10 a visit.
This is the first year that we've been asked to pay, and then I was instructed to come here and request a waiver, so that's why I'm here.
You used the building prior to this year
Yes,
at no charge?
yes.
You've used it at no
I'll have
charge,
to look at that.
Yes.
Yeah,
so the fee's been waived all in the past and
I
not...
assume so. I was never told we had a fee. We've not paid in the past.
It's probably my fault. We have tightened up on all fees. We watch that everybody pays equal and fair share. And I've instructed Sharon, and Sharon has increased the income. And it's probably my fault. I didn't do that against you, 'cause I didn't know you weren't paying fees.
No.
We do cut the fee to $10.
Sharon did tell me that there was a tightening and a more of a auditing being done.
So you want to use it January, February, March, and April, you're talking $40.
Starting in February,
Okay, so you're talking $30.
February, March.
at least 6 meetings. you
Six
said.
meetings.
6 to 8 meetings.
60 to 80.
$80.
Yes.
Anybody have a comment on the issue?
I think we should continue charging the minimum, since we're doing it
I think all the clubs should be treated the same.
because the other clubs would have a right to come before us and request it to be used at no cost. My feeling. Not sure what the board members.
Mike?
I agree with the rest of the board. I think we're setting a precedent here if we do this. We have to be extremely careful. And if all the rest of the clubs are paying, I think that you should too, so.
That's understandable.
I'll give this example. The Lions Club has put thousands of dollars in the park over the years. They've raised money in the amphitheater, the pavilion. They put the roof on in here, but every time they use the park, they say pay the same fees as everybody else. They understand that, and it's a hard bullet to bite, because I know your kids, and I know. But here's what I'll suggest to you: go out in your community and get a couple of the parents to underwrite that. One of the council persons and myself underwrote some here a while back for some people. But see if you can do that, because if they would give that to you tonight free, then every other club that comes in, they got to give it free. So it's a tough decision for them.
This isn't a personal issue,
Oh,
ma'am. It's
no.
just, we just have to be careful because of, just like I said, setting precedents.
That's fine, doesn't hurt to request it.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
You need a motion, Your Honor, on that?
No, we don't need a motion.
Okay. Thank you.
The Christopher Boot Drive, Optimus Al Gardner. There's Big Al. Or is he on TV?
How you doing, Mr. Mayor?
I'm doing fine. Doesn't he remind you of that guy's on TV?
As long as it's good.
Al, you know, in the morning with the weather.
Oh, come on.
It's the hair.
He's a little jovial guy, and I think he got a little bit more hair than I do.
Is he? He's younger than you.
Yes, he is. The Optimist Club, I think all of you know that. We're a fundraiser. We're asking about getting your permission for a boot drive on June 14th and 15th. We do this every year, and this is our yearly. We have to come before you to get the okay. So here I am. I'm the current president. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer that.
Friday and Saturday out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We do have adults that will be manning it, so we've done it before.
You know how it works?
Yeah, we know how it works.
Okay.
I move, Your Honor, that we accept this request for a boot drive on June 14th and 15th for the Optimus Club, please.
You want the 3 regular locations?
Yes, same locations.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to allow this boot drive on June 14th and 15th. Is there any discussion?
No, sir.
Hearing all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
We have a item here, approve the addendum to the lease agreement with SAPA. I can kind of run that over with you. We had a lease with SAPA in the Vistion building. They need more space. This space is going to be outside, and we kind of also tightened up the other lease that we had parking the trucks, and we added this to the inside space that they are leasing. I'd like for you to approve that because it brings our income up there quite a bit. You want to give them the figures? You don't have with you? I about have them in my head. but-
They're here in the addendum, I think.
It's
Or are they-
$200 a month.
No, that's per year.
Is that a year?
Yeah, that's
$600 a month for 4 acres.
$600.
$600
I'm sorry.
per month, $7,200 a year is what the increase will be.
Already did like 1,700 a month on the other one.
Brings our income up to about $7,000 a year, I think.
I move we pass the addendum to the lease agreement with SAPA.
Second.
Motion and a second to pass this addendum. Mr. Baker has, that building is in the process of being sold with tenant rights. So that building could not be leased to a new company, but we have a right to add an addendum to it, and since it's an economic development issue, we thought that was the best way to go. Any discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
If the building, when that sale is completed, they'll still have a right to be in there?
They have a right, they have tenant rights.
Okay.
For the length of the lease, and the new buyer knows that.
Okay.
Approval of an interlocal agreement between the City of Connersville and Fayette County, and I believe that's Diana's agreement.
Yes.
We share a person, grant writer, in our office. We actually pay part of the salary, the county pays part of the salary, and we handle the benefits and we run the office. This has been going on now for 5 years, I think. It works pretty well. But we have to have an agreement. We're allowed to do this. We're allowed to share help with any other government agency. And this is what we've been doing. County will pay $14,000 and we'll pay the rest, and we pay the benefits. And you say, well, that's unfair. Well, it is kind of, but on some other things, like 911, the county pays the benefits and runs the thing, and we pay a portion. So we share back and forth. The dog pound's the same thing.
The IT director.
IT director.
Yeah.
I think it's what you call working together, and I think it's a great thing, so I'd like to pass that. The county's already approved it.
And we accept the interlocal agreement for the grant writers with the county.
For a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Tom, you can sign that. Approval of the annual Spillman maintenance agreement for the police department. This is the computer system that we use. It sends all the stuff down to the court, down to the prosecutor, takes care of everything here. We can tell who's crooks and who's not crooks in a minute's notice, and it's just something we have to do. It's a special software we use.
Just 1 year, for 1 year.
1 year.
Yes.
$17,076.
Right. This specialized software is very expensive because you can only buy it in one place.
These are the same people that we use every year.
Yeah.
We've been using it since 1990, in 93, 94, I believe it was, when it came into it.
I make a motion, Your Honor, that we accept this maintenance agreement for the cost of $17,076 to Spillman Technology.
I'll
For
second.
Connersville Police Department. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We have a like agreement, Spillman. This is a server maintenance agreement with the police department for 2013, $4,939.68. This takes care of the hardware.
I move we accept the maintenance and support agreement for the Spillman server.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to also pay the agreement for the Spillman hardware at $4,939.68. Any discussion?
I don't see any end date on this thing.
That's for 1 year. It's for
Okay.
13.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Next on your agenda is the approval of the annual solid waste operation fee. This is what we run the solid waste, and who do we pay this fee to? Indiana IDEM? IDEM. We run solid waste and we cooperate with the county. So we have a $2,000 fee we have to pay them. They do inspections, and they were just down there last week and inspected. There again, you don't have any choice. Unless you want to fight with IDEM, it's no fun, I can tell you.
I move we pay the annual solid waste fee to IDEM in the amount of $2,000.
Any discussion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Okay, this is the approval of the maintenance renewal for City TV. And John, you want to talk about, where's John?
He's on his way.
You know what that is? You want to explain it?
I mean, I don't know any of the details off the top of my head, but it's Alpha Video's a lot of our computer maintenance stuff. He uses them quite a bit.
You want to just go ahead and do this, or you want to hold it off until he gets here?
I think we can pass it. I'm sure it's
Okay, I'll take a motion then.
I'll make a motion that the Alpha Video maintenance renewal be approved for TV3.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're down to two resolutions, 211301, 211302. These are transfers, $400 pool financing and $225 in dues. We can do both these together if you would like.
I move, Your Honor, that we accept these two transfers, 2013-01 and 2013-02.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion, any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Resolution 2013-03, this is amended and reinstated joint resolution regarding the Connersville Bicentennial Committee. Now, let me get to that. We're taking this backwards, really. What should have happened is the council should approve this tonight, and then we should approve it. So I guess we're approving it pending the council's approve it, sending it back to us. Early 2-3 years ago, we formed an agreement with HCI, Historic Connersville Incorporated, that they would lead the bicentennial and they would be responsible. Well, when we started getting into this, John and I met with our insurance agent who is here tonight. Come on up here. Brad, I almost called him. Brad?
I'll get close.
Anyway, after we studied it and we looked at it, we met with HCI, we met with the Bicentennial Committee, we realize now that the Board of Works has to be involved in this in order for our insurance to cover these activities. And as Mr. Baker says, 90% of this is being done on city property. So the city has to sanction it in order that we can have our insurance covered and we can protected under the cap that a city is protected under. So we went back to HCI and to the Bicentennial Committee, and we've come forth with this resolution. And I'll give John all the credit because this is all legal jargon that makes it all supposedly okay. Today, just by happening, I got a notice from IAC that, when is it, March or February?
March.
March. we're going to have a seminar on this at Carmel. We're going to have some legal experts there telling us how we handle parades and festivals. They're going to be there. So this has to be a city function. So tonight what I'm asking you to do is to approve this, and then if the council approves it, it'll go into effect. If they don't, we'll just throw it away. But I think, Mr. Baker, you want to speak on this, don't you?
Well, just to explain some parts of it. Under the previous informal agreement, Historic Connersville was on the firing line for expense and tort claim liability. That became obvious after it was studied. This new resolution reduces their liability to very little, if any. And as you indicated, it is a city celebration. 90 to 95% of the Bicentennial Committee activities will be on city property, either streets for the parade, the parking lot, the city park, city buildings. The city will have the financial responsibility for expenses and tort claim liability under any circumstances, and therefore the city should have, I think, final control over activities to limit liability and approve expenses to the extent possible to ensure proper insurance coverage of all liability issues. So that's why I'm recommending that you consider this joint amendment resolution to give the Board of Works much more authority regarding the matters. If you read the resolution, and you probably have, you can see that it all matters having to do with expenses, liability issues, and the like will be reviewed, as well as budget, will be reviewed by the the Board of Works, and the Bicentennial Committee will be an ad hoc committee of the Board of Public Works and Safety. And the committee will report monthly or more often to the Board of Works on all budget matters, all matters concerning liability insurance coverage of various participants in the bicentennial celebration, and on all matters concerning the financial responsibility of the city of Connersville regarding bicentennial expenses of various kinds, with the understanding that as the bicentennial celebration is a celebration of the city, that the city will be responsible for all expenses of the bicentennial celebration not otherwise donated or agreed to be paid by other entities. Even though that wasn't provided in the former agreement, that would have been the way it was. And that's just, the buck stops with the city. And it is a city celebration, like I said. And the Historic Connersville will continue in its present capacity in assisting with the planning of the bicentennial celebration, and will also be in an advisory capacity for that purpose. And this resolution specifically states, and Historic Connersville requested this, that the Historic Connersville will have no financial responsibility for the expenses of the celebration unless Historic Connersville expressly agrees in writing to be so responsible. So those are the highlights, and I think I recommend that to you.
Is there any discussion from anybody here tonight that would like to say anything? Brad, would you like to add anything to the... Brad represents our insurance carrier. You want to come to the podium, Brad? You've looked at this resolution, and you have taken this to our carrier, and this is what you want in place?
Yeah, and we visited on this, and once again, going back to both the comments Mr. Baker and you, Mayor, that if these events will be held on city property, the Board of Works needs to be the gatekeeper. Worked with Julie on facility usage forms and those businesses and entities that are going to obtain financial gain from these activities need to follow the protocol of providing certificates of insurance from their firms, and there'll be quite a few I'll say contracted vendors that are going to be used, and this just gives the opportunity for the city to be that gatekeeper, to know what's going to take place, to know that insurance coverages for these folks are going to be in place prior to the event happening, rather than finding out some later date, you've been obligated by another entity for something that ultimately the city may be liable for. So I think it's a very good housekeeping, delineates the lines of responsibility and obligations.
It's a good double check measure too, I think.
Exactly.
Nothing else will change. I mean, the bicentennial committee will continue to function, continue with their things. I serve on the finance committee. They meet every 2 weeks, and we look at the finances whenever I can. Julie serves on the finance committee. One of us promised to be there at every meeting, right? And Julie probably will be in there even when I'm there because she knows more about money than I do. And I hate to admit that, but that's the way it is. Gotta tell it like it is, yeah. So I'd like for you to consider passing this in the hope that the council passes it right after you.
Your Honor, we've, council's authorized $45,000 for this thing. How much money are we looking at, perhaps? I mean, this opens us up to paying all the expenses, the city, and doesn't it?
Now, the bicentennial has a budget right now of about $200,000, and that's the reason for the finance committee to keep the celebration within the confines of how much money they have.
That money's in hand, I mean.
94,000, I can't quote them, but there's about 94,000 in the bank
And that
right
includes the 45 to cities?
now. No, we still have 15 more to go.
Oh, okay.
That money has to be approved by the board before you spend it, is that correct?
It has to be reported to the board.
Partially.
We have, the finance committee approves the treasurer to pay things because there's things that have to be paid every day. There's also income, there's selling of the books, the selling of the Afghans, the fees to go to the different things. It's really anticipated that there may be some money left over. And that money then would have to be, we'd have to negotiate with the Bicentennial Committee and HCI and see what we want to do with that money that's left over at the end of the celebration. I think Brookville experienced a little money left and they did something with it. But don't make any difference how we do this, whether it's this committee or whether it's like it is today. Ultimately, the city's responsible. Is that right, John?
That's correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Because it is the city celebration.
And
We
like I said,
authorized a group, whether it be Bicentennial Committee, HCI. In this case, we're just adding in the Board of Works to be a little more, as Mike says, checks and balances to watch it.
Right.
So if we overspend, it's your fault.
You're looking at me?
No, I'm looking at
Oh,
Way to go, Fred. So what, you want to,
We need to adopt this resolution and then see if the council will adopt the resolution, which then puts the Board of Works in a position where they can watch the money. They can demand to have insurance certificates from vendors and contractors. Right now, we have no authority. We've given it all away.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor, that we move this resolution 2013-03 amendment onto the council for their approval and see where it goes from there, if that's the way you want to state it.
Well, I think that we adopt it.
Well, yes,
And
we'll
adopt
adopt
it.
it, yes, correct.
Is that okay? Your
That's
motion?
fine. Yes, sir.
Second.
Discussion, go ahead.
I'll second the motion.
Oh, you're seconding, okay. Any discussion? Anybody out there have any discussion?
I want to make one further point, Mayor.
Go right ahead.
This was worked up and was done in consultation and agreement with Historic Connersville. And together it was determined that it would be in the best interest of Historic Connersville and the bicentennial celebration that the city appoint the ad hoc committee mentioned previously, the bicentennial committee.
Further discussion?
No, sir.
Have a roll call vote. This is an important issue.
Jane Oakley,
Yes.
Fran Schomel,
Yes. I just hope the city doesn't get into something here that's cost us a lot
I
of
think
money.
we're already into it up to our neck.
Okay.
Are we not, John?
Well, the bottom line is
Horse is
anything not
already
paid
out, I
for,
think.
the city's going to have to pay for it anyway,
Okay.
right? Who else would be paying for it?
Well,
Yeah, you have to face that reality. It's a city celebration.
But that's why Julie and I, there's 9 people on the finance committee. It has to have 5 votes before it can be paid. So Julie and I are there watching the money, and we certainly are not going to vote for any money to be spent that goes outside the money we got in the bank.
okay. Good.
So I
yes.
think you got a little insurance there.
Okay.
And if that happens, does it still come to the Board of Works for approval?
What happens?
If you and Julie decide to spend the money?
It's said, the resolution says that they have to report finances and other things to the Board of Works, so they'll be reporting their finances once a month.
But the bills won't be approved here.
You don't have to approve.
That's fine.
So just give us some.
I think it's just
We'd
a
be
good.
meeting every week, every day up there.
No, I'll second Fran's motion.
Shane made the motion.
Yeah, we got, you're.
I'm
ready to
sorry.
vote.
You're
No,
ready.
Mike made the
I
motion.
Mike made the motion. Did it?
Mike Bishop.
I wrote it
I
down.
thought you made the motion.
Mike made the motion.
I think it's a good idea. It's just a good check and balance myself.
Everybody has voted yes, the amendment passed.
Okay.
Way to go, Peter.
Resolution 2013-04, the street contract, I don't know who's speaking on that.
It's you.
It's the
Huh?
It's a contract.
Yeah, the park department thing, I think. Is that
Street
what-
Department
No,
contract, Mayor.
street guards.
The way she wrote that. Street contract, sure. I kept looking, I thought, what are we doing with the streets? We've been negotiating with the union since last June at the street department, and I still have my mind on bicycling. And we finally, we went into an extension at Christmas, and we've extended through the month of January. So we now have a contract, and the committee, which is made up of me and the city attorney, Mr. Baker, have brought this to you, and we've signed it, and we recommend it to you. I'll tell you a little bit about the changes, and you've had it at home for a couple days.
No.
No, we got it all.
tonight.
Okay, they just, the streets just voted on it Friday. Let me give you some highlights. It's a 4-year contract. It, first of all, it gives the city the opportunity to hire as many part-time people as they want to, anytime during the year. What's different about that? Before, we could just hire between Labor Day and Memorial Day. Now we can hire anytime we want to. It's $9 an hour for part-time people. I think they used to pay 14 something. We usually use college kids or high school kids to do a lot of that work, but we're not tied into that. We could hire anybody, anytime, to do whatever we want to do.
But they are limited to 120 days. is
No,
that-
no.
Aren't they? I thought
No.
it said-
Once they reach 120 days, they have.
They have to
Oh,
pay
option
you.
to
okay,
pay union.
that's what it is, okay.
No, they're not limited. They can work 30, and before they used to be only allowed to work 24 hours a week. They can work 30 hours a week now. Okay, then another difference in here, we can appoint this board, if I came to you and said, I'd like to appoint Joe Smith to be a group leader this summer to run a blackout crew. We could appoint that person without seniority. We don't have to ask about seniority. He could be the group leader for 3 months, 6 months, a year, or forever, as long as we want him to be. So it gives us some management rights. It just does a lot of things for us that we've loosened up with management rights. Now, what does it cost us? This is what it cost us. The new street superintendent, just as soon as he was over there about a week, he said, this is ridiculous. He said, we need all of our people to have a Class A CDL license, so they can drive the trailer, so they can drive the snowplow truck, so they can do all this stuff they need to do. Well, we didn't require that before. Back when I first came here, I asked to require a driver's license. Everybody squalled, but it makes sense. Why would you hire somebody that can't do anything? So we put in this contract. They have 1 year to get their Class A CDL. If they do so, they'll get 25 cents an hour more. If they get a, Class B. If they get a Class A, they'll get 40 cents an hour more. If they're a group leader, instead of 15 cents an hour, they'll get 50 cents an hour. And at the same time, I'm asking you to make our chief mechanic over there a group leader. That's not a part of this contract, we'll vote on it separately. This contract opens up and gives us a right to run the street department. And the parks department, I should include them. We also have created the maintenance department, and it is separate. And it also gives us departmental seniority. So the sanitation is a department, streets department, and parks is a department. And we can transfer and move within those departments, or from one department to the other, however we want to do it. Other than that, the contract pretty much remains the same, and the grievance procedure. We're gonna pay the same on clothing. We're gonna do everything the same. They are getting a little money, but you gotta remember, these people over there haven't got anything for the last 6 years. And with a 4-year contract, this is all they're gonna get in 10 years. So it's basically, if they get the Class A CDL, they got 40 cents over 10 years.
You do get insurance, life insurance to 50,000. That's an increase.
From 35, we raised everybody in the city.
Right. And they get 15 paid holidays plus 3 personal days.
That's the same as it was.
May I ask a question?
Yep.
Just for my clarification, you're saying that if you've got 3 people that works in one department and the junior person wants to be a group leader.
Now, if the Board of Works wants the junior person to be a group leader,
the union has agreed to let him take that job out of seniority.
the Board of Works appoints group leaders.
But the union's agreed to allow us to do that.
They didn't agree to it, they didn't put it in that we couldn't, so therefore we can do it, right, John?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
We got a good contract.
The summer help is all lined out. What does that mean? Still hire these young people at $9 an hour?
Or anybody we want to, they don't have to be young people, we just do that to help them, help our young people. But we could hire at Christmas time if we wanted to, we could hire part-time people to do whatever we want to. There's no stipulation. Now, we can't hire part-time people if there's someone laid off in the regular street department, but we only have 12 workers left in the street department.
What's this part in here where we can't hire part-time until all the regular employees have an opportunity to work 40 hours or something?
Right.
What was it?
They have to be working 40 hours a week, the 12 that we have, before we can hire part-time.
Okay. Is that in effect now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think anybody would agree that's common sense. You wouldn't want to lay your people off and hire part-time. That wouldn't be, I don't think that'd go over with it.
I don't have any other questions.
Jane?
The other board.
No, I read through it, looks good.
Believe me, this didn't come easy.
No.
John?
I thought this was blood instead of red ink.
What'd you say, man?
I thought it was blood instead of red ink.
John, tell them how long it's taken us.
Well, we've met, golly, 100 hours negotiating over the last many, many months. It's been hard to work out.
Mike, any questions?
No, sir. Nothing.
We also included the new superintendent of streets in on this. We went over things with him. He'd just been there a short time to see what he needed, and it works. And I can say that we've had a great working relationship the last 6 weeks. Seems like it's moving along. I'll let him speak for himself. But what was the vote on the union contract?
I didn't hear the exact vote.
Okay. Was it unanimous, or?
I can't tell you, I don't know for sure.
Okay. They didn't tell me. They just said they passed it last night.
I would think so. I mean, these are tough times, and I think they have to give too in certain areas. So.
And they did.
Yeah.
When you can get something out of seniority, that you've accomplished it. That's a major accomplishment with the union, let me tell you.
Well, the way we looked at this in the fire contract, the police contract, the EMS contract, we tried to encourage people to be educated. We want more medics, so we gave money for that. In the fire department, we wanted our battalion chiefs to take more responsibility, do payroll, do inspections, do all this stuff, and then we didn't have to have a assistant chief. So in all of our departments, we've asked for that part-time people, and everybody has, and I felt it was only fair also to give the city workers, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I will right here in front of God and everybody, I think even at that, our street workers are about $2 behind utility workers. in hourly pay. I think, I'm just throwing off the top of my head, but I'm close, I think. And when you figure getting 40 cents over a period of 10 years, I don't think we're giving the city away.
You want us to act on resolution 2013-04?
Yes.
I'll make the motion and we pass it.
Okay.
I'll second.
The motion by Mr. Schobel, pass resolution 2013-04, the new street contract, which will take effect on February the 1st and run for 4 years. Any further discussion? Anybody out there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. They did ask us to make this retroactive and pay their insurance because they had to pay higher insurance over the month of January, and I refused to do that. So.
Yes, it wasn't our fault that we didn't reach agreement before the end of the year. So.
Yeah. Okay. We got fuel bids. Did we get some? I was talking to the county. I'm not sure they even got two, did they?
You only got one the first time.
Yeah. That fuel bid's still for today. Okay, this is from Harvest Land Co-op, and they got the 87 octane, 2.985 diesel fuel, 3.460. It's super diesel fuel, off-road, 3.348. And the fuel's available at 914 North Conwell in Connersville. Pass that down to Mr. Baker. This is the company that we're presently with, Speedway. Yeah, but I gotta get the base price. Theirs is a Escalade bid. I don't know that they give you an exact, do they? Just locations of the stations. They never give you that. But anyway, we're not going to decide this tonight, so I'm going to assign this to committee rather than taking more time. What they do is they bid, and then they bid an escalating price of how the gas is going up and down. Let's assign it to it. Is that okay to do that, John?
Well, did you read the amount of the bid?
Well, see, they don't bid per gallon. They bid that, so you gotta compare this bid with the other bid.
I know, but I think the law requires us to announce what the bids are at the public meeting.
I can't do it.
You can't figure it out.
No, because it's a percentage based on what the price is that day. And the price varies and it goes
On
up
the
and
price
down.
fluctuation, yeah.
Markup of 7
Yeah,
cents per
this one is
gallon.
not, Mayor, this
Gasoline
has
and diesel.
specific amounts.
Yeah, there are two different types of bids here, so
Right.
you can't compare them.
No, the harvesting is also escalating, de-escalating. But that is the price for today.
For today, but they don't give us that price for today in here.
And then how you can compare it.
You can't. If you can't, I can't. What I'd like to do, if it's legal, is assign this to a committee of two to get with both companies and understand the bid and come back to us.
Well, you can table it and go back to it at a future meeting and then announce the amount of the bids. But
Are you able to explain it? Is anyone here from Speedway? Jane, you should be an expert on this.
I'm not an expert.
Huh?
I'm not an expert.
You take bids on your fuel?
Yeah, we did today.
Do they do that with you too? They bid that way?
No, I just do it as needed on the phone.
Let us move on here because we're running out of time. Police Department discussion in the house on 12th Street.
The house at 131 West 12th Street, or better known as 12th and Grand, the one that burnt. Okay. I want to make a recommendation to the Board of Works. After talking to the now owner, who is supposedly sold it on contract, but he's still the owner, and he's traveling all the time. His plans of tearing it down, rebuilding has fell through. So he's supposedly sold it on contract to another individual who I've been playing phone tag with, and haven't really talked to him one-on-one yet. But I'm going to go back to the guy who supposedly owns it now with the tax, who's paying the property tax. I want to make a recommendation that the city, and I've talked to Julie about this and John briefly, that I go ahead and get a work order and have the place boarded up, secured, cleaned up as much as possible. We got burn up furniture outside, burn up bush and glass and stuff like this. And I would suggest that the street department get some people together, go over and clean it up. And if we have to keep it mowed, that's fine. And I think we should, whatever the cost is to do that, we ought to put a lien on the property until this homeowner or this property owner decides what he wants to do with it or whatever. But if he sells it, there's going to be a lien on the property, and I think that's as far as we can go. We sure can't afford to tear every house down that we come up on like this in that condition. And you know, the original people that owned it when it burnt, they sold it to this other guy, and this guy, he didn't have the time, obviously, to maintain it, to do what he planned to do, so he's sold it on contract to somebody else, and it's just getting to be a big fiasco. And I just think that at this time, due to the complaints we're getting, the way it looks, it's an unsafe place. He did board up the back entrance where it was burnt real bad and has no trespassing signs, but there's, like I said, there's burned up furniture out there, a bush that was burnt, glass, and all this.
Can we do an emergency cleanup here then, John? Declared it a...
Yeah, it's certainly dangerous. The Chief, we could start the process to get us in a position where we can pursue a lawsuit, meaning give him the notification letter that it must be cleaned up within a certain period of time.
Okay, I've got his address and stuff for where he supposedly lives, but he's on the road all the time. He works for one of the phone companies, and so he happens to live with the people who originally owned it, and they're a relation, and he's on the road a lot, so he's kind of like this. Their home is like his home base, but he's on the road all the time. But you know,
can we give the street superintendent permission to clean up around it and secure it so it's people can't get in it?
Yes.
I'll take a motion to that effect.
I'll go ahead and fill out after you're giving me the blessings, I'll fill out a work order to get that done.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor, that we allow Chief Counsel to proceed legally against this property to get the homeowner moving on it before we have an accident or something.
I'll second.
And John, we would seek a lawsuit then?
Well, I would say at least start the process of giving him a notification that you send out, that if it isn't rectified within the given period of time.
We've done that, haven't we?
Yes, well, yeah, we did. That was then, but he come back with the agreement that he told me that he was going to start working on November, December to tear it totally down. He was going for a loan to tear it down and rebuild it, and was going to have it totally down and probably rebuilding by the end of January.
Did he give you that in writing?
No. Well, he didn't say. That's what he told me that his plans were. Then, and since then, I talked to him, and he happened to be in Arkansas when I talked to him on the phone. He called me.
I think you need to work with John. It's a hazard right now. We've declared an emergency, and the street superintendent will see that it's cleaned up around and boarded up.
I think that's what the best thing at this time.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything that they came here to talk to the Board of Works about tonight? She's still looking at the bid there, and you want to meet with him privately for a few minutes and see if you can make sense out of those two bids so we can read it publicly?
Well, we can read it, but we don't have a base price from
That's what I was looking for.
Speedway.
I think we can read what they provided to us, and that's about.
You want to go ahead and read it?
You want both of them again?
Well, just the one. I read the one already.
Okay. Mayor read the Harvest Land co-ops, Speedway Superfleet prices were as follows. At Speedway locations, there'll be a 7-cent per gallon markup on both fuel and diesel prices, which doesn't make sense at all. I've never gotten in this one
In the
before.
past,
This-
when
this-
they
I've
did
never
this,
gotten
they
on
would
this one
always
before.
have, it could only go this high.
Right.
You know what I mean? There'd be a base
They put a
price and it
cap
could
on
only go that high. But I can't make sense of that thing at
No,
all.
this, I've never seen
They
that.
put a cap on it before, didn't they, Fran? If memory
Yes,
serves me
I think
right.
so.
Well, that's,
At the Marathon locations, they are saying the 5 cents per gallon less than the monthly pump price. Even the pump price will be charged to the city,
can we table it, John? Or
Yes.
not Speedway locations.
we're gonna have to, because we can't understand
Well,
it.
make a motion
They
that
don't
we
have a base
table the
price.
bids received
There's no base
for
price.
the city fuel usage.
I'll second.
Got a motion on the floor to table these, acceptance of these bids. We only have 2 bids, and we'll lock it in at that. Nobody can bid, so whoever hears this, we got the bid in writing, we just can't read it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Public forum, anybody out there got anything they'd like to talk about, discuss?
Okay, utilities.
I got utilities on here, I'm gonna come to them, I was gonna do them last, so I Old business, anybody got any old business? Come on. Come on. We'll put you on last and then get in a fist fight or anything.
This won't take a minute. The street department, I have a letter of retirement. As of January 10th, 2013, I'm retiring from the sanitation department. I've been employed with the department for a little over 20 years. J. Wayne Rourke. He's gone now. He's retired. He's not gone. He's just.
On Jane York?
Yes. January 10th.
Rourke, I'd like to have a motion that we accept his resignation of retirement.
So moved.
Got a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do you have another one too?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Mike? Old business.
Old business, new business. You should have a flyer, James Robert. I just need to get approval to do our, this is our 4th fundraiser for the James Roberts Memorial Building. It's going to be a chicken fry on
You guys get one?
Yes.
April 20th.
Would you have the press get one?
I'll get a copy.
I move that we approve the James Roberts Memorial Building fundraiser set for April 20th, 4 to 8 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I will say to the Board of Works that since the last meeting of the council, when they were talking about maybe stopping the project, the outcry from the people has been wonderful. We've sold all the windows, we sold one door, I'm beginning to sell light fixtures. And we got people doing fundraisers, and things are going good. Any other old business? Miscellaneous business? None?
May I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to commend the street department, Dave Joe. I followed the truck for a day, and you're to be commended because that was something to see. It was an actual learning experience for everyone, and it flowed a lot better than I thought, and the cooperation from the guys went well. And if people will just give you the time that you're asking for, I think this is going to be one of the best assets this city's ever done. I really do.
It's only 1 week and it's running smooth.
Yes, it is.
So,
And I think
I'm very pleased. David's done a great job putting it in. I don't want to give him a lot of credit, but he's done a great job.
I don't
And
Great
I want to
job.
thank the gentlemen and the ladies that have been working with us to get this done too. Artie's done a good job, and so has Chris and Elmer, so I really appreciate their jobs. And we're starting to get all the totes and stuff distributed the way they should be, and the calls have lessened up quite a bit. But we still got a ways to go. We're not done by any means, so
Thank you.
we're like Bill, we always have leaks.
Utilities. Utilities. That's you. Is that Bill or who is that?
Yeah.
It's me.
That's it.
Huh?
You can't say that every time.
He looks different to me every time.
He walks the
Couple quick things.
moving right along.
You've got 28 minutes.
28 minutes.
Oh, no.
We sent out for quotes for land application services for the wastewater plant. Got the read them back, and I put a letter of recommendation in there to accept William Brothers' quoted price.
You remember what that was, Bill?
Yeah, here it is. They're the lowest ones, so.
Yeah, they're in here.
4.39.
With last Friday's current fuel prices, seems like they're going up and down like a yo-yo.
Yeah.
But, if you use last Friday's prices, they're going to be cheaper, quite a bit cheaper than the other two.
Looks like it.
Yeah, so 0.0439 cents a gallon versus 0.053 and 0.052. So I recommend that we use William Brothers for the service at the wastewater plant.
Need a motion?
I need a motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we accept the recommendation from the superintendent of utilities to accept the Willing Brothers bid for fuel for utilities.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Second thing I had a lady from Faith Christian School call me this afternoon requesting trash collection at that school.
Where at?
Faith Christian School, it's up on Iowa Avenue. Apparently, we've been picking up their trash for some time now, and they've not been charged for it.
Oh.
So what triggered it is they did not get a tote.
Yeah, we've had several of those.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
they're
for years.
requesting trash pickup up there.
Well, I'll move that we provide trash pickup for the Christian school on Iowa.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
The only other thing that I have is an issue that we've had unresolved for Ralston Steel 03 project has been finished, and there was some overages on the inspection services for that, maybe some misunderstandings as to how we got here. So I've been asked, and I've brought Westlers here to explain those charges, if the board wants to have Bill Lieber explain, if you have any questions for him.
Come forward. A little history on this. We got a bill and we had a 65% overage on the inspection bill. It seemed too high for most of the Board of Works. And you know, you can make a mistake of 10, 12%, but when you make a mistake of 65%, and I'm sure Bill's going to tell me it's not a mistake, it's an actual. But I've got to, go ahead.
That's fine. Basically, on the project, we had a full-time resident project representative. Ed Bird was out there, and we had a contract that basically said we would pay hourly wages for Ed to be there and observe the construction as it occurred. So when we give our proposal, and we broke down our design services, the bidding, the construction administration, and those services were all lump sums. So when we were 50% done with the design, we billed for 50% of our budget. But then the RPR services were an hourly contract, basically based on the actual amount of time that Ed's been on the job. And we basically, we send in our invoices with Ed's timesheets and everything. And in order to get a budget number, we assumed, or we estimated, how long the project would take. And this was before any of the design was done, obviously. And we thought that it would take about 10 weeks, 400 hours, $90 an hour. That's the $36,000. That was the estimated fee.
36,000.
Correct. So like I said,
400 hours.
We thought it would be 10 weeks, 400 hours. We took bids. CK gave us, after we awarded the project, CK had a schedule, and their schedule had basically 12 weeks of what had to be inspected. The overall schedule was, 21 weeks, but some of that is mobilization and things that we knew we didn't have to be there, so we didn't have Ed inspecting. But we had 12 weeks that we knew he was going to be out there, so we're already 2 weeks over what we thought it was going to be. Then there were additions to the project, namely the water main work. And both on the 22nd Street, where we decided that we need to replace that water main, which we added
2 blocks
during the design, and then the Virginia Avenue.
Wasn't it, am I right, 2 blocks we put new water line?
Yeah, I think so.
It was 2 blocks down 22nd Street and then 1 block on Virginia.
I was thinking it was
3 blocks.
Right, yeah, one block for 22nd and 2 blocks for Virginia. So, the 22nd Street was an extra week of work for them. And when we did the change order for the Virginia Avenue water main relocation, we gave the contractor an extra 30 days, so that's another 4 weeks. So we ended up with 17 weeks of work, and our estimate again was 10 weeks. So we had 7 weeks of work overage that we had full-time inspection out there.
So you're telling us that the 7 weeks overage is because of the change order for the 2 water lines? 2 blocks and 1 block.
And it's just 2 weeks that it was longer than what we anticipated.
Break that down for me, how much is for the 7 weeks and how much for the 2 weeks you didn't anticipate? Just tell me.
We assumed it would be 10 weeks.
Okay, but I want the 7 weeks broken down and the 2 weeks broken down. How much did you charge us for the 7 weeks on the inspection on the water lines?
It was $90 an hour whenever Ed was out there.
How many hours did you spend on the water line?
I'd have to look at the invoices.
That's what we asked you to come here to do tonight, to give us an itemized price of the overage.
Right, I think the final invoice was $59,358.56. And again, every invoice we send the timesheets that says for every day.
I want you to tell me
hours.
how much the water line inspection cost for the 7 weeks extra.
The overage is the $23,358.56.
Just water line.
And again, that is how much more time was spent.
I know, I want to know if it was on the water line.
That was the water line and some of it's the storm sewer. The overall project, I guess. So, I mean, if we take 2 weeks out of that.
Take 2 weeks out of that, and how much did you spend on the water line?
So 18,000. 18,000 is the water main. 7,200 was the overage on just storm sewer work.
What took place during that overage that we had that problem?
It's not a problem. It's
well,
just
why did we have 2 weeks extra?
We had to assume, take a guess at how long the construction would take before we ever designed the project. We thought it would take 10 weeks. CK said it would take 12 weeks. And we weren't, and so we wanted to make sure we had an inspector out there for the entire time.
What I would like to recommend to the Board of Works, you can do anything you want, you can pay this bill tonight if you want to. I've been doing some investigating on some other projects, and I'd like to pay the bill that we owe originally and not pay the part that they're asking extra for. But if you differ with me, we'll do whatever you want to do. And the reason being, we checked our other project. We put 2 blocks, and I mean they were long blocks of water line in, and we were not charged for inspection extra on those. It was a part of the project because it was found during the project. You had 2 advantages over the other people that inspected. You designed the project and you inspected the project.
Right, I
You should
would
not
like to
have
add that
had,
we
you
did
should
not
not
charge you
have
for that
been
design.
65%
We
off.
gave you a water main design for free, because our contract was just for the sewer design. During the course of the project, we decided that it makes sense that we replace this water main because it's falling in with the sewer.
Why was it falling in?
Because it's, what was it, 50, 60 years old.
Age.
And we were digging how deep underneath it?
We're,
10, 20 feet times.
but yeah, we're
Yeah.
20,
But
over
shouldn't
20
we
feet
have known
deep,
that
so-
before we started the project? Shouldn't the engineering have known that? That we got a 60-year-old water line and we're gonna dig under it, it's gonna fall apart? I mean, I'm not too smart and I figured that out. Well, the point is, I don't like the idea of paying $18,000 to inspect the water line that we actually contracted with the contractor to put in that didn't really need inspection. And on the other project, when we found out the same thing that you designed, we needed a water line, there was no charge for inspection of putting the water line in. Now we got an $18,000 charge.
I guess, the one thing we could do differently in the future, we could make sure that there's always notification given, or write a letter when you're at a certain percent of the budget, and then you can let us know if you don't want Ed to show up that day. But the bottom line is, our inspector was on the project doing what he was supposed to do, and I don't think he was ever out there when he shouldn't have been, when there was work that didn't need to be inspected.
You think the water line being put in by the contractor need to be inspected?
Yes.
How many water lines have we put in with no inspection? Up the hill and down the hill?
Well, that's different if we put it in. If we're gonna pay somebody else to put it in, I wanna make sure it's put in correctly.
Weren't you there every day?
No, I was not there every day, all day.
Well, I just tell you, I don't want to pay it, but if you guys want to pay it, we'll pay it.
I just, maybe the communication could be different. I mean, if you wanted Ed to stay home, I would have told him to stay home, and then you wouldn't get the bill.
An overage of 65% of the original bill is just unbelievable to me. It's too much money. I have a hard time swallowing the $7,200, but I'd go with that if you work 2 weeks longer. But to pay 7 weeks more to inspect the water line, I'm sorry. Much privilege, boys, girls.
Did it require that many hours to inspect, Bill?
Yeah, I think, the bottom line is I think we were, I don't know what the word is, we underestimated to begin with how many hours. So, so the budget was low. And maybe, that should have been brought to attention sooner. I think that's a large part of it.
Sure.
Were we not made aware each time a change order was brought from
We were aware of the change order on the water line. We authorized and took bids. We actually got 2 prices to put the water line in. We got one
On the construction.
on the construction of it.
That's what I thought.
But we were never told at that point there would be inspection on it.
So this is just
And
the
I look back in the other project, and when we had to put 2 blocks of water line in, the inspection cost didn't go up at all. But we had a different inspector.
So right now, the controversy is, I hate to call it that, is just the inspection fee.
Right, just an inspection.
Fee.
18,000.
Well, I don't like the whole deal, but I could swallow the $7,200. It's the $18,000 to inspect the water line. How much the water line cost to put in? 50?
62,000.
Figure the percentage of cost just to inspect it versus buying it.
72 is the storm sewer line though, inspection, correct?
What?
7,200, the storm sewer line?
Well, he says they had an extra 2 weeks on the
Right,
storm
and
sewer.
this is a kind of a breakdown of schedule. I mean, I could go back through all the timesheets and figure out, exactly how many hours were on.
Well, that's not going to do us any good because you
But,
keep the
right,
time.
that's-
You keep the timesheets, so it's not going to do us any good.
Right.
It's you're right. It's a breakdown in communication.
Right.
Because I never dreamed that we had to pay 65% of the original bill in overage. If you had anybody working in your house, you'd cry like a baby, just like I am, wouldn't you? someone come in and say they're gonna put something in your house and it's 65% as much as the whole job was? Like I say, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say I'll approve this. If you wanna approve it,
Would you like to take this back to your superiors and hash this cost over and come back at us with
Well, I mean,
another number?
if that's, if you're looking for me to give you another proposal as far as, you know, see if we can work on some of the things and reduce the cost. I mean, I tell you, we're not making money here. I mean, I lost money on the design, I lost money on the bidding, and I've lost money on the lump sum part of the construction administration. Yeah, we're trying to do our best to, you know, give you value for the city, and I think you got a value for the inspection services. I think we just set the bar too low and underestimated how long it would take, and then as we added to the project, you know, we failed to update that price, and we should have given you a heads up, basically.
and I think you're exactly right, that's what you did. You might underestimate it to start with. So now you're chopping it all off on a water line, trying to get it back up where you thought it should have been in the first place.
But it is all based on actual hours. I guess that's the key
Well,
thing that
I spent a lot of hours up there too. Looking
Right,
at
and
a
like,
pole,
I don't send
looking
you
at
a bill
curve.
for, you know, when I come.
I had the entire Board of Works up there one time. I mean,
Yes, you did.
They had problems.
More than once.
And, you know, our contract says that we will, you know, do a one-year inspection for the warranty work, and I won't charge you for any of the.
We got
any
10
time
minutes
that-
left here. I need to
that's-
adjourn this meeting so I can start the next. Do you want to make a decision on this tonight, or
We'll table it till next meeting.
you do?
Discuss it.
You putting that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I'm so moved.
I got a motion over here to table it till the next meeting.
I'll second that motion and come back at us with what you're agreeing to do.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Jane Oakley?
Yes.
Fran Schulman?
Yes.
Leonard Urban?
Yes.
Mike Bishop?
Yes,
So
thank you.
do you want us to pay the initial amount?
We already paid that.
Have we paid that?
We've already
We've
paid.
paid
Okay,
everything
then we're
else.
okay.
Yeah, and if we need to have any offline discussions, you know, feel free to explain this further. So.
Claims. 10 minutes for claims.
You want the water claims, Mayor, you're on?
Go ahead, whichever one you want.
Water claims, for water was $58,553.39. Sewer was $69,503.41. Stormwater was $66,937.88, and $62,749 was that lining of the pipe at 9th and Fayette, for a total of $194,994.68 for stormwater claim, for utilities claim, I'm sorry.
Okay, the city claims 253, the amount $175,921.32.
Has all the Board of Works got an opportunity to review the claims?
Yes.
I move,
You have any further questions tonight?
I move the claims be accepted and paid as submitted.
Second.
Motion on the floor to accept the claims. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The reason we can move through these claims so fast is they've had them for 3 days and they study them and they call the clerk treasurer's office when they have a problem with the claim. Anything else to come before the board tonight?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned.